So I wanted to talk about how conflict affects group cohesion. So I decided to make those two videos, one displaying a healthy disagreement and how it can be resolved, and one just showing an outright unnecessary conflict. And I wanted to underscore what potential nuances could be seen from each scenario so that we understand why one is inevitable, but we can still resolve it, and another one we gotta try and mitigate as much as possible. So it's a natural fact of interacting with other human beings. You're gonna have different ideas than them. We see it in politics all the time. People's red team, blue team, whoever's doing this, whoever's doing independence or whatever. You know, everybody's got their own ideas. Everybody's got their own beliefs. Everyone's got their own thoughts and everything, and that influences how they speak and how they carry their actions. So fundamentally, I wanted us to be able to acknowledge the fact that, hey, some people might see things totally differently. Like in the first video, we have one person who is basically thought that the numbers were one way, but another person changed the numbers afterwards. While yes, he probably shouldn't have done that, but his reasoning for doing that is still sound. So his reasoning for doing that is still pretty good. So he thought, from his estimation, that the budget was not appropriate for this amount of whatever testing they were doing. So knowing that, it's not to say that in this first scenario that the first person was automatically second guessing them. He at least had faith that he understood what he was doing in his job, and the person who did the change realized that it was wrong of them to go behind the other person's back and make a change without their knowledge or say so, maybe for the sake of time or maybe because they didn't think it was super important. So both parties acknowledge where potentially they may have failed. One person didn't have enough faith in their team, and one person potentially didn't realize how important it was to go and be up to date with every member of the team on what you're doing. So both of them acknowledge where they might have gone wrong, and they both worked to form a resolution. And that's the first video. As for the second video, it does not go along that way as easily as you can see. It immediately starts to escalate. People started feeling personally attacked or so, and people are undercutting the performance of other people. So you might it's understandable that you may be confused about a certain piece of data that you might see, but somebody else might have changed it or so, and it's normal to talk about that. But we shouldn't go first to accusing somebody of being negligent or doing their job wrong, you know? We should keep that in mind when we're discussing with them. And also, we shouldn't automatically assume that because somebody might be pointing out something that potentially you could have missed, not necessarily that you did miss it, that they're automatically trying to come for you, that they're trying to devalue your work or invalidate your credentials. So that was fundamentally a big problem in this circumstance. It was a great showcase of accusation, because one person was saying that they're always escalating problems out of proportion, and another person is saying that you're always underestimating me. Both of those are just accusations thrown around that could be very hurtful to either party. And in the end, they didn't come to a resolution. They didn't come to a peace talk. They just decided to stop talking entirely instead of working it out. They completely stonewalled each other, and they just went their separate way. Over time, interactions like that will gradually destroy group cohesion, and fundamentally that's what we're trying to avoid whenever we're trying to maintain a group. Big conflicts, unnecessary conflicts, we're trying to avoid them as best as we can. And as for disagreements, we can't avoid those, but we need to be constructive with those. And that's fun, and that's my whole argument.